Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's Hoop Talk, the podcast, man. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and share with all your Hooper friends and family. We're back for another episode, man, of some local hoops talk. As usual, we got the GM5 live and in effect right now, so that's going to be our topic of discussion. And we're going to see if we can squeeze in some other stuff because there's another topic that I wanted to bring to the table that has been going on for a while, but we just haven't had the time to really dig into it. So we'll see. We'll see how we do on time today. But let's start with our GM5 talk. And like I said, don't forget, subscribe, like, comment. It's the same crew as usual. You'll see the names up on the screen. Let's get right into it. GM5 week 4. GM5 week 4. Is that right? 4, right?
Yep.
GM5 week 4 just finished up, man. We got 4 games that happened. And we're also going to discuss the upcoming games. So let's start with game 1, which was Prey versus Vipers. The Vipers were able to take that game very decisively. That was a 67-46 victory for the Vipers. Let's talk about it, fellas. What are some goods? What are some bads that we saw in that game?
The Vipers outcoached them. They out schemed them. Prey could not do anything to break that zone. And then when I think about it, I don't really know if they have the shooting personnel to really get out of a zone like that. They weren't feeding into the middle like we talked about. They weren't dragging two defenders onto them as much as possible. They were kind of taking really bad shots, and a lot of it was them driving to the rim. So it was really disappointing to see like a team like Prey, who I really enjoy, just get like completely dismantled.
Yeah.
But the
I
Vipers, not even fully healthy, looked really good. And go on.
no, go ahead. Finish up. Finish up. You're good.
No, that was it. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, kind of the same. I think their size and their width really was their downfall. They weren't able to get on the transitions. I think Vipers were way faster than them. I think Vipers
Way
were
faster.
way point A to point B. I never thought that they would as good even without Liam um being there. It looked really good. I didn't even notice that until we started talking about it now. There was no Liam. As well, I mean that just exposes something on Prey. If you're able to go small on them, maybe you can beat them on breaks. Maybe you can get more. Also, I mean, what really threw me off was the amount of offensive rebounds as well that the Vipers were able to collect the whole game on Prey, with Prey being the bigger team and the stronger team. I think it was, bad for them at the end of the day because they weren't able to keep up the transition. They weren't able to guard these smaller guards. Usually it's the other way around. Jax is usually the guy bullying them, but they were way too fast, it seemed like. So I think they need to go back to the drawing board. One thing that they do have is they do have a lot of guards, and they can go with a smaller lineup with one big man. I was very surprised that Coach T did not actually run that smaller set to kind of combat their smaller set of three guards. Because I think that was really what ended up killing them was those extra passes to the corner. Also, just being able to find an extra man. When you have three guards, the passing game's a lot better, unless you're in Phoenix. But regardless, yeah, it looked good. It looked really good.
Facts.
Yeah, I
Facts.
think when it comes to the bads, yeah, I'd say it was very disappointing to see Prey not able to figure it out. I mean, a good team has to have something that they can do to beat a zone. You know what I mean? Like a 2-3 zone is in most cases meant to either stop you from scoring inside if your bigs are dominant, or force you to have to shoot the ball if your team's not good at shooting, right? So I feel like no matter the circumstance, a simple timeout and a simple let's talk about what we need to do to break this should have got the job done in it, and I feel like it wasn't. So that was very disappointing that Prey was not able to figure that out. But that zone damn near seemed unstoppable. It seemed unstoppable, and it's not like the Vipers were playing some well orchestrated, practiced for months type of zone. It's like Prey just didn't execute. They just were not able to execute. They couldn't. They didn't get in transition. I'd say they're a bigger team in comparison to some others. A team that benefits more from the half court, so they weren't able to get in transition to beat that zone. So it gave Vipers the opportunity to just set themselves up every time. You know what I mean? And they don't have the shooters that we talked about. They have Andrew Gronigan, which shout out to him. He had a great game,
Chris
and,
Williams
and
as
he's
well.
he's a great shooter. But you got to have some shooting power in different spots on the floor. You can't just do it on one single spot. So that I'd say that's the baddest thing that, like you guys mentioned, out of everything that I saw from that game. But in regards to goods, I enjoyed Jose Melendez. I said it on the first episode of the podcast. It was the only game he's played so far at that point He's finally back for another game, and he's back like he never left. I said it on the podcast. Jose Melendez, in my personal opinion, is the best player on the Vipers. And I think Zuldo is going to draw a lot of attention for that because of the history he has in GM5, because of the high scoring that he's always had in the GM5. But from my personal experience, I believe Jose is a much more well-rounded overall player. Um, and he's back like he never
A
left.
lot more controlled.
A lot more
Very,
controlled.
very controlled.
A lot more controlled. And I wanted to take a moment to actually follow up on some of the things that I was mentioning on the broadcast when I said, when you look at, who is a pro-ready player, I think Jose is that. I think he is a pro-ready player. Not only does he have the height to be able to compete at a pro level because he's about 6'3", 6'4" type of guy. At the guard position, that's a good height to have depending on where you end up playing. But he's, like you said, he's very controlled. He's very composed. He plays the game at his speed. He dictates where he wants to be, what shot he wants to take, and he makes sure he has the moves and the arsenal to get to that spot at every chance. You know what I mean? And he started that game literally right off the bat, off a screen into a dribble pull-up. You know what I mean? And just splash 2 points to get started. Then he hit 2 threes back to back, 8 points in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. You know what I mean? So that man was back like he never left. If the Vipers continue to play well, they didn't have the best showing last week against OTB. Rightfully so, OTB being such a dominant team, they were fully rostered, so it's understandable. But if the Vipers continue to play at this caliber, I genuinely believe Jose is going to be one of those players in that MVP conversation. And it all depends on how the Vipers perform. How much I vouch for him is going to depend on how well the Vipers perform. Because if they're doing good, I think it's because of Jose, amongst other players. Obviously, they have other good players, Zuldo, of course, right? But I think he's the catalyst that's really going to drive them forward because I think he should be their go-to guy. That's what I believe. I think he should be the bucket getter they go for when it's time for a tough situation, last-minute shots, all that kind of stuff. I think he's the guy. That's my personal opinion.
I think it works really well because you have Zuldo, who's kind of more chaotic in how he plays. He's less controlled, finishes at the rim, in the uneasiest way possible, but he gets it done. And when that's not working, when defenses kind of catch up on that and they understand what he's going for, you can go to Zay now, and Zay can have that control, that poise offense where he's facilitating along with Greg. I think Greg is an even better addition to kind of help Zuldo be that player that he currently is. Like, be more aggressive in how he's playing because you have the facilitation by him. And also Zay in the background. If things aren't working out, you can kind of kick it out to him. You can get a quick ISO. You can get a quick setup play for him. That team, Vipers is still my team. Vipers is still one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
Very strong. Even without Liam.
Yeah, I was actually talking to, I think it was Zay after the game, and we were having a brief conversation. His biggest downfall, he said, is just him not going to be here. He travels a lot for photography and different things like that. And I just kind of tapped into him as a person, and we were just talking. And I told him, bro, I saw your one-on-one tapes, man. You are different. And he does have a lot of pro moves in his bag. But I think the number one thing the Vipers really did this week was make the extra pass. And when you have someone as good as Zay who is willing to make that extra pass for an easy assist and knows the ball will more than likely come back to him off a cut when you pass it, it does open up their game and the way they view the game and the way they play the game, because they're playing for each other now. They're not just playing for like a win or a stat. They're playing for each other. And that's the thing I noticed every time he does play in the GM5, he can get his bucket whenever he wants, but he's willing to get others started as well. He had a couple passes that led the ball right back to his hand off a couple cuts. He had everybody wanting to make that extra pass. Even Zuldo was making extra passes. But Zuldo and Zay could be like a great Tatum when it comes to having offensive juggernauts. Because Zuldo himself on the break, he's probably maybe top 3 best fast break players in the league right now.
Fast as hell, bro. Fast as hell.
Yeah, he's top 3. And then you add someone like Zay who's just as fast, who's just as offensively gifted as him. Yeah, man, that's crazy. You put Liam in that picture too. You throw Liam in there, makes things easier for Liam. You have a big man who you can funnel everything to again, because Liam's not a small dude. He's like 6'7". So yeah, the Vipers do have something they're cooking. And I mean, Nas called it out from the beginning. They look like he knows they played together, and I think that's a big thing with all of this. They play with each other. I mean, I don't even really throw this out just as a Spanish person. Even on the court, they talk Spanish, so the other teams don't know what's going on. And that's a big, a big difference right there. And I think they're going to do pretty well. It just all depends on how many times Zay does show up, because he has a busy schedule. He told me that already.
Hopefully it
We
works
got
out.
you guys with the promo code for Duolingo if you need it. Just hit us up.
That's crazy. Yeah, man. I'd say Zay is probably my favorite player in the league. I really do think so, and that's probably why I'm constantly gassing him up. But I enjoy his game. I love it a lot. But I mean, the last thing I'll say is, listen, pray. People watch the podcast. People watch footage of the games as well. Don't don't let the next team hit you with a zone, because after that performance, they might just consider it as like, Prey doesn't look good against his own. Listen, y'all got to get in the gym.
Yeah,
Y'all got to figure
their
that shit
subs
out.
weren't good.
Yeah,
Yeah, their subs weren't good
y'all got to
at
figure
all.
that
You
shit
guys
out.
have the size to feed the middle. You guys have the passing ability with like Djax and Ladarius to feed the middle to create those mismatches. I don't know why they weren't.
Yeah,
And they have shooters on
Oh.
top of that. They have one of the top 10
I think
shooters
that's
in the
where
league
their
right
issue
now.
is. I think
They have a
shooting is
shooter.
where they're lacking. I think they have
No, they have a
Andrew and they
shooter.
have Chris. They have
Yeah,
Andrew and Chris, but
they
I
don't.
think
They don't
that's
have
it.
knockdown shooters like that. They have guys that can shoot but not knockdown shooters.
I'm giving it to Andrew Grande. I'm giving it to him.
Yeah, but that's not enough to be a zone.
I'm even giving it to Chris.
Not just gonna keep shooting with the same
Yeah.
guy over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Other
gotta-
teams are, though.
Hey, no one else playing the zone that I saw.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the first zone I've seen in GM5.
Yeah.
It worked.
And it's likely because of
Yeah.
their size disadvantage, I think. And I think that was a smart move. I think that is a very well coached decision. You're missing Liam, and Ant, fully capable defender at any level, obviously. But, you know, he lacks the height that some other players in the GM5 have. And to mitigate that, I think they made the right decision. And shout out to the coaching and on the Vipers side. That was a good decision. Or shout out to whoever made the decision, whoever brought it up. Whoever you are, let us know in the comment section. Shout out to you for being the person that said, let's try this out. Because you won that game.
Yeah. Yo,
And shout out to Greg, just because.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to the Vipers for coming up to our table and telling us that they tune in and stuff and showing love after the game as well. They did show some love, and they said they love what we do. So just want to shout out them in general. You guys are dope as well, and you guys are doing well this season.
Yeah, shout out to everybody, man. But next game up, we got Count Up versus On the Bench. Unfortunately, yet another disastrous ending. OTB able to dominate that game. OTB able to dominate that game 81-50. This is OTB's third straight mercy rule, ladies and gentlemen. They do not have an easy schedule by any means. They beat the Vipers by mercy rule. They beat Count Up by mercy rule. The first game of the season was a mercy rule. And not to mention, this is only I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The second game they played, which was week 3, was the only time they were fully rostered. They're mercy ruling people without their top 2 players, in my opinion, and I hope everybody's opinion, being there. You know what I mean? So OTB, they're interesting, man. I want to start this one off with my goods and my bads. I'd say that was the good, and I'll rave about that until they stop doing it. But the fact that they've been this dominant is crazy to me. I know Orlando made a comment about NWO being dominant. In my opinion, we're going to talk about dominance. It's OTB. I think OTB has shown to be the most dominant team in the league so far because of the fact that they're dominating without even having their stars. And I think that's the biggest bright spot of that entire game is who they can be. Josh Fillmore, man, I've been familiar with your game. So I'm excited to see you back in the GM5 because he's been doing this since the Squad X days. Actually, my first exposure to Josh Fillmore was actually it was an open run that I had recorded back in my Hoopers Digest days. Shout out to Michael Gavin for inviting me to that. I probably still have the footage somewhere hidden, and he was there. He was playing with the group or whatever. And my first major exposure to Josh Fillmore was a 3-man alley-oop. Fucking Michael Gavin passed it to one guy. He couldn't finish the alley-oop, so he alley-ooped it again to Josh. It was a triple alley-oop. I probably still have that clip on the page if you scroll all the way down, because I can't imagine I would have deleted that one. But that was my first exposure to Josh Fillmore. Then I saw him on Squad X, and man, that was just phenomenal talent. Huge. What's the word they use? Not spark plug, but that's essentially what I'm trying to say. That was a different word I was looking for. But he gets hot, and he's something else, man. He fills in for Melo very well. You see Melo's out. He has a near triple-double. I think he was 1 assist away from the triple-double, if I'm not mistaken. it was he's a phenomenal player. Having that coming off your bench because you don't have a choice, you have to bring him off the bench because of the stacked roster you put together. When everybody shows up, he has to come off the bench. You know what I mean? Like you got Melo, Luke, TC, Willie, Keith. Who are you gonna start him over? So imagine having a talent like that off the bench. That's the biggest bright spot. And negative, I mean, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. Count up. What the fuck? Like, get it together, man. You can't be losing by 30. First week I had y'all going to the finals. Now I look like an idiot. What the fuck? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beat a dead horse
Same.
on that one. If you didn't see it, go watch it. Give us some more watch hours. Give us some more views, and give your comments on what they kind of need to do. But I think they need. Is the last thing I'll say. even
There's
though
more.
even though I've said something that goes against this in the past multiple times, now I'm changing my mind. I think they do need Blake Hinton. I think they do need a go-to scorer that's going to get a bucket guaranteed because, man, it's just there's no consistent go-to scorer right now unless somebody's going to step up for the rest of the season and just be that bucket getter. Man, I might have to go back on my word and take back what I said and pick somebody else for the finals. I might have to.
Yeah.
OTB, bro. I'll go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say OTB. Tyler, this is your stat, Tyler. I'm taking this from you. All right. OTB has not had the same roster the last 3 weeks, and two out of those 3 weeks, Melo has not been here, and they're murdering people. When Tyler told me that, that's when I got off that NWO. That's what Nas doesn't tell you. That's when I got off the NWO train, because just because you beat a bad team by 70 does not make you a great team. But when you're beating great teams and forcing the games to end early, that's what makes you a great team. And you're doing this without the same talent every week. The only guys I think that would be there every week would be Fillmore. Fillmore's been there. Fillmore's the only one who's been there every week, I
Fillmore
think.
and Terrell. TC's
Yeah,
always a good
TC.
Luke's
But
been there
Terrell,
every week.
Luke as well.
What are you gonna say about
Those-
Terrell? What are you gonna say about Terrell?
Nothing. Terrell was able to match
That's
Jalen
crazy.
that game and to shut down Jalen, as well as Jalen was able to kind of make it hard for Terrell. So they kind of pretty much ended up nullifying themselves in whatever battle they had. But I think the real story here is Lito being hurt and potentially also needing surgery on his back. I I can sympathize with an injury, especially when a major player like this is their floor general / coach player / maybe their best perimeter defender. And when you lose that in the beginning of a game where it's pretty much the game of the week to us, right? It's the game of the week. It's tough. It's really tough to watch. I don't think he's coming back. He said he's going to get an opinion, but that's just a little nugget here. Maybe Nas can post it on that letter page.
Back injuries
but-
suck, bro.
Yeah,
They suck.
sciatica. There's nothing you can do with sciatica but get surgery for it. That's what I was told as well, and I even looked into it. But really, what I want to get on is count up. The style of basketball you guys are playing right now is not going to be a style of basketball that can win a championship here. Most of the good teams share the ball or overly share it sometimes. Now that Blake is gone, you guys got to figure out who is your scorer. I can see Beans being that, but Beans is not like Blake where he can create his own shot. Not saying that he's not able to. I'm just saying that's not his strong suit. I think a lot of these things that they're going through, they need to set up their shooters better. Down screens, maybe some pick and rolls, something to kind of like move the ball around, because the ball was stagnant. It'd get to a player, and then the player would try to create something, and then when the player tried to create something, it was a turnover, a block shot, or a steal. That was what's happening the whole time. So just offensively, you guys need to get better. I think defensively, you guys still did what you had to do. You guys held your own. But offensively, this doesn't, and that's been their problem since last year, is their offense. It's just it being consistent. That's my take on that game. I just think count up's a lot better than what they're showing. But eventually, I got to stop saying that, and I got to take it for what it is, right? I can't keep blowing smoke into someone and then the fire's never happening, right? So I just got to let it be what it is at this point. You guys just got to do better.
So before I get into OTB, why do you think Count is doing good defensively? They held OTB to the same score that they've been held to all season, 80 points. They've never gone up.
They've always been
down.
a decently good defensive team. I mean, they didn't let
Is that
them
by
just
pedigree though, or actually what you're seeing though? this season?
Prior to this game, the last two games they were pretty decent defensively. This game, not so well. But again, that could come up with being a bigger team at the time with Blake, Johnny, and their big man, the 7-footer, being on the court all at once. But they also weren't rebounding well as well. There's a couple things on defense that they weren't doing. Those are the two things: defensive rebounds to end a possession, and I would say they don't have the same height no more. Even though if they still have two 7-footers, but it's not like someone who can go grab a board. They aren't board hunters. That would be
I
the
actually
word
think
I
it's
would use.
worse. I think
Yeah.
last season they did so well because their big was Brendan, and they had a bunch of smaller wings surrounding him, so they
Yeah.
were able to move a lot quicker. I don't think that they're as good defensively this season as they were last season. I don't think that they're a top 3 defensive team right now. I
Mhm.
think that they have a great defender in Brendan. They have a great defender in Jalen, but the rest of the team is kind of figuring out their role defensively, and I don't think they figured that out yet. And I think it'll take time, but I don't think that they're great defensively right now. I think OTB didn't even necessarily expose anything that we haven't been seeing before.
Yeah.
Canup has been terrible at defending the 3. They've been god awful defending the 3, and they've been god awful at getting defensive rebounds, sorry, and stopping possessions. And it's really interesting because they do have a 2 big lineup that they run very often. We do see Brendan and we do see Johnny on at the same time, and they're still missing rebounds. And I never really understand how that's happening. There has to be some level of effort that they're not playing together, where it's not working. I think you have to move away from that 2 big lineup completely because you guys are too slow when you're running that. And every single time I've seen you guys put that on the floor, the other team has gone on a run. So I think you got to move away from that. On to the
It's
good,
the-
though, because I don't want to talk. Oh, God.
It's the classic case of going for a rebound before you stop your opponent from going to a rebound. And that's something that people struggle with at so many levels when you're trying to make a name for yourself in the basketball world. I use my AAU. Obviously, they're younger kids, but that's something that you struggle with kids and up and coming hoopers in general. It's like you can't go for a rebound until you've secured the position on the man that's also going to try and go for the rebound, right? Because at the end of the day, the defense is facing the opposite direction the majority of the time, right? They're looking towards the other basket because that's just how defense is played, right? The basket is behind us. We're looking at you. So when the shot goes up, the other team has 5 players who are looking towards the direction the ball is going, while the defense has 5 players who started that looking the other way. So they got to turn around and make a move to the basket to be able to get the ball. But the other team already has the advantage. They're already looking that direction. They just have to move that way. You get what I mean? So it's just a simple common sense. In order to get that rebound, you first have to stop them from getting it. It's as simple as that. And I feel like that's what they do a lot. They're chasing after the rebound without making sure that the opponent cannot chase after it first. And I think that's the
They don't box out.
they don't box out. Exactly.
At
That is
all.
that is a basic terminology. They don't box out. And I explain it that way because that's how I try to help people understand the importance of boxing out. You are at a disadvantage. Even though defensive rebounds are more common than offensive rebounds, you are still technically at a disadvantage when you're trying to grab a defensive rebound. The only reason defensive rebounds are more common is because we're using high caliber leagues to dictate that, right? And that boxing out issue isn't a problem for the Boston Celtics and the OKC Thunder. You know what I mean? If it was, the motherfuckers wouldn't be in the league. If rebounding and boxing out was a problem, you get what I mean? So like
That's why they got Hartenstein.
that's what you're trying to get to, right? Well, obviously some of them probably do have aspirations to go to the NBA, but they want to play at a higher level. A lot of those players, some of them maybe not, but the majority do. And even if you don't, if you want to win, that's just what you got to do. And I explain it that way because I want to help people understand. Like that is why boxing out is important. Boxing out eliminates the advantage they have because they already are looking that direction. All they got to do is take a step forward, while you have to turn your entire body around and then box somebody out. So that movement that they're making to chase the rebound, you stop it. And when you stop them, now you go after it. Boom, rebounds in your hands. Simple as that. And I think that's what I noticed. They weren't boxing out. They were just chasing after the rebound. But other players are also chasing after it. So who do you think is going to get it first? The person who was already looking at the ball, who already knows where the ball is going, or the person who just turned around half a second ago and is trying to figure out where is it bouncing? You get what I mean? That's the logic behind it that I see, and that's it. They weren't boxing out, and that's why they were just getting killed on the boards.
That's
Yeah.
why there's a level of effort that they're not giving us defensively this season that we saw last season.
Yeah.
I don't see it anymore. I just don't, and I don't know if it's figuring out who's on the team, figuring out the makeup of the team, but the effort is less. It's not there, and OTB, OTB never has that problem. OTB shows up every single week last season, this season, and they perform. And I really do think it's the philosophy that Bubba and Coach Pink have, building that team. But Pink is like a ridiculous scout for talent. I don't know how he is able to build this team so well when they're not all together consistently. He has a new face in almost every week, and they perform so well. Like Josh Benneker came in, and he's breaking down on the dribble. He's hitting step back threes.
On the break.
I'm not used to this. Defensively, he is. I hate to say this. He's almost bullying Brendan down low at times, and Brendan has a side advantage on him, and he's not a bad defender. But like Josh was just getting around him. He's getting position. Man, OTB, like when they get fully healthy, when they get fully rostered by the end of the season, because I'm sure they'll probably add like one or two more people to finally close it out, that team's gonna be really scary. And it's already really scary. And you already have like these players that are developing like late game situations. Like you have Luke handling the ball a lot more. That's gonna happen as we get later in the playoffs, and maybe Melo gets doubled, or you're not able to get Keith the ball. Terrell is just this fantastic defender, and he does everything so well, and he's still this offensive weapon. NWO and OTB, they play this Saturday, and I think there's going to be a lot of ramifications that come from this. I think this is really going to show us, like, who is that top team? Who is that premier team of GM5? So, like, everybody should be circling that on their calendars. Everyone should be here this Saturday.
Yeah.
This is really important. Like,
yeah.
OTB, this was a statement game for them. They destroyed Count Up. There is no denying that.
I do want to say,
and they're going to go against NWO next week.
I think OTB is the defending championship, so this is not a big game for them. This is another game that they know they have to win. This is a really, really big game for NWO. I think this has more impact on NWO season than it does OTB. I think we are all in an understanding that OTB is by far the A-team tier of this league. They are the best team in this league, and what's crazy is they are the most inconsistent when it comes to players being at the game. We got Melo.
This is some bullshit.
Yeah, this is crazy. But I mean, we're gonna see. I love that you brought that up about OTB. We're gonna see what they can do now because this is a big game. But really, for me, because I don't want to circle real quick because I am circling. I want to get down to the NWO. I think with NWO, we're gonna figure out how good those guards are against Melo. Because Melo is the guard stopper. Melo slows down everybody he plays. He slowed down Dom. He slows down Zuldo. Melo literally slows things down. So we're going to see how good Bulb is. We're going to see how good Tommy is. We're going to see, because they haven't played a guard this good yet. I don't think they have. So we're about to see, like, who's who in this league. And that's a big game. I didn't even know that till you said something, Tyler.
This Saturday.
I mean, listen, we're talking about stoppers. Bulb is a notorious stopper himself. So
Let's come back to him because I have a lot I want to talk about Bulb.
Yeah,
I have a lot I want to talk about him.
But yeah, I mean, the last thing I did want to say about that OTB and count-up game is aside from the rebounding efforts that we mentioned so vividly, I think another aspect of their game that they definitely need to reconsider is the bad shot attempts. I think they're taking a lot of bad shots. I think they're playing, and I don't know if it was this game or if I said it about another game, but I said it at one point last week. They're playing with desperation before desperation is even needed. Like
this game.
Like you're shooting shots like you're down by 30 in the second quarter, trying to get it down to 20. You know what I mean? And when I said that, they were down 10, and they're taking shots like they're down 30. I was like, you gotta move that rock, man. You gotta see who else can get a better look than that. Like, if everything has to be a step back and a side step, and I gotta dribble between my legs, and I gotta do this. If everything has to be so hard, why you just keep trying it over and over again? How about you go give it to somebody else? Find yourself in a better position next time to shoot an easier shot. And I think that's something that they gotta work on because those difficult shot attempts aren't gonna work for them in the long term. Because in my personal opinion, as it stands right now, Count Up doesn't have a player who's a difficult shot maker. I don't believe that. And that's just my personal opinion. Maybe they did in their prime. Maybe they did last year. Maybe they did in a different rec league. Maybe they did at some point, and that's why they keep doing this. But in the GM5 as it stands right now, there's no player that has proven to me he's a difficult shot maker. There's no reason why you should be attempting this many difficult shots. And I'm not saying one player is doing it. I'm saying the team as a whole is taking way too many chucked up threes, way too many contested twos. He going into traffic for no reason at all. Kick the goddamn ball out, man. You know what I mean? Simple
They're
as
counting
that.
up how many bad shots they can take.
Okay,
They're
it's
doing it together.
they're counting up. I see what you did there. But that's another thing that I noticed, and that's what I wanted to end it on. If you guys
Oh
have
wait,
anything to
one
say
more thing I
about
want
it.
to say. One last thing. You guys need to find a way to feed Brendan, especially on the pick and roll, especially in the corners for three. Brendan's not going to be aggressive. I don't know. He's not aggressive looking for a shot just yet. He's been a fantastic three-point shooter, though. We looked at the stats. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league, especially as a big man. That's got to be like a weapon that you start using a lot more often. That's got to be at least 3, 4, maybe 5 shots a game that you're taking where you're looking for Brendan to set him up. Because he's a mismatch. There's not really that many people with his size in this league.
I agree.
Use that.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they need to use him a lot more. I don't think he's an isolation type of player where he needs to be fed and dominate at any role, but some pick and roll, some pick and pop, some off ball movement, whatever it takes to allow Brendan to be a bigger impact offensively. I don't believe he needs to go out there and drop 20 every night, but if he can consistently give you anywhere from 10 to 15 points to where he is a threat to put the ball in the hoop, I think that could create a lot of more ease for the rest of those players and possibly could mitigate some of those difficult shots that we were just talking about. You know what I mean? So I think you should take that advice 100%. Game 3, though, as you could probably assume, the trend continues, ladies and gentlemen. We have our third, yes, you heard it right, third mercy rule of the night, or of the day. I apologize. Park Legends able to pull away at the end of that game. It had some potential there. There was some potential here. They took down the Lions' perception by 21. Unfortunately, that fourth quarter was not great for the Lions whatsoever, and Park Legends was able to pull away, and they pulled away enough. The referee said, "Let's call it. That's a TKO. They can't take any more punches." 81-60 was the end of that game. One thing I will say though is the Lions did look better. What do you guys think?
A lot better. I think that this was a vintage Dom game. You know, we got to see Dom without, playing with Nick, and Dom looked like how he looked. Sean was feeding everyone down the court. But the real story here, I think, is Park Legends did not go against the Lions for the last 3 weeks. Park Legends went against a Lions team that I think was very hard for them to beat. I think that they struggled with them, and I think any team is going to struggle with that team.
They were
Because
under
they
man.
looked a lot better.
They were undermanned. That's something to take into
But
consideration.
still, though, I still do think that the Lions did look a lot better. I think the issue with the Lions now is going to be you guys don't have a leader. There's nobody communicating on the court when things aren't going wrong, and everyone just kind of gives up and puts their head down. And you've added a lot of new pieces that I really like. Trayvon, you added Stefan, you added Steve Stacko. They're all amazing pieces, but there's a mentality there that hasn't really shifted yet, and that needs to change before you guys start winning. You have the pieces now to where I think you could take a game from a couple teams. Park Legends went back to kind of what we talked about, where they went to a different offensive set, primarily ran through Dom because Nick wasn't there, and it was mainly in transition. And for majority of that game, Lions was defending that very well. But, the fouls stopped getting called, some shots started being made, and they just kind of lost it. But I like what I saw from both teams. I really do like what I saw from both teams.
Yeah, Dom Douglas is back. He had himself, I believe, the first 30-point game of the season, looking more like Dom that we all recognize. And I'm gonna stir the pot. I'm gonna say it. There were players missing, and Dom took over, and he looked good. Who those players were is for you to go decide. Go figure it out. Go look at the stat book. Go look at who was there, who was not. Go look at the other podcast episodes and see what I might be talking about. All I'm saying is a player was not there. Dom was able to play his game as I suggested, and here he goes for 30. Blew the team out, and yes, it was the Lions. We've shared terrible takes about the Lions for the last couple weeks, but the Lions played good basketball that game. They did. They definitely did much better than they have in the past. Defensively, they showed a lot more promise. Their offense was very inconsistent. I wasn't a huge fan of what they were doing out there offensively. I think that's the next step. But defensively, they showed promise. And through that storm, Dom was able to weather that, and he managed to get his 30-point game. He managed to carry his team to a blowout Mercy Rule win. And I think Park Legends has to take into consideration, is this group the group that can win consistently? Because at the end of the day, sorry, I got something on my face. At the end of the day, um, this group is, heavily influenced with some game time players from last year. Yeah, I know TP, Dom has been with you in Park Legends for years, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I'm saying last year, he was not. And he was in the finals with game time, with Sean, with Shane, right? So if that core came over here, you would expect them to be able to, do the same level of success that they were doing last year. And I don't know if the Park Legends have exhibited that. I don't think they have.
Nope.
The record looks nice. I think they're what, 3-1 now, 2-1. I think they're 3-1 now. Their record looks nice,
3-1.
but like the record doesn't really dictate what the Park Legends have actually showed. I think they've had a bit of a rough start to the season, and as my boy Phil pointed out, Park Legends coincidentally had an easy schedule to start off the season. Coincidentally. I'm just saying. That's what was said to me. That's
I
what was
love
said to
Phil
me.
in the owner's chat. Phil in the owner's chat is amazing.
I'm just saying. Coincidentally, they had an easy schedule. Coincidentally, their head coach is the owner of the league. Whoa, what a coincidence! I'm just putting that out there. But either way,
Yo.
I'm just saying. Park Legends hasn't exactly shown what you would expect them to show based on the roster that you see on paper. I think they need to figure out, is this group really going to consistently win the games that matter? When it's time to play against NWO, when it's time to play against OTB, when it's time to play against Vipers, or whatever other teams you believe are in that discussion, can this group coexist enough to put together a good performance? If you ask me today, my answer is no. I don't believe they can. And I'll say it straight up. I don't see a world where Dom and Nick fit together. I don't see it. I genuinely don't see it. If anybody disagrees, let me know in the comment section. Let's discuss it. I'll be more than happy to reply. I don't see it. Park Legends does. Let's see who's right at the end of the season.
Yeah. I'm gonna finally chime in, I guess. One thing's first, that offense with Sukup and Shane and Dom, I mean, that's modern day basketball perfection. Running the break, you got Sean at center. You might give up a little on defense, but you're gaining so much as having a rebounder like him who can push the break. Dom
Sean's a great defender. He's crazy. I think Sean's a great defender.
We were arguing this on the sideline, and you guys weren't agreeing with me. But we'll talk about that later.
Well,
yeah, I was saying
that's not
Sean's a good
true.
defender. You guys were saying that he wasn't.
Don't do that.
Okay, I think Sean's a better defender than Bird and Nick. I'm going to say it finally here. I'll say it.
That's
Sean's
a different
better defender.
discussion. That's a different topic.
Different take.
Yeah, it's a whole different
All
take.
right, well, all right, I'll take my take that I said to you guys so it doesn't seem like I'm taking things out of context because people love context, right? Yeah, I was saying that Sean is a better defender than both their big men that they've had these last 2 weeks, and I really am standing by that. And I think it's the fundamental shit that he does. I don't think Bird can pass like him, and I don't think Nick is looking to pass. I don't like Nick starting. I've been saying that since the beginning of the year. I like Nick to come off the bench and be a nuclear weapon that you have in your back pocket. Be the big man, be the guy that you are, and I think it's easier to get more out of Nick off the bench than Sean. Sean is literally the tempo of the game, and I think he's more important than a lot of people think. He literally looks to make his other players score. He is not looking for his shot, and if he is, it's the occasional three or scoop layup, and that's because he's wide open and he has to do it. He has no other choice. There is nobody else to pass the ball to. Like, there is no one he can pass the ball to. Okay, shit, I'll take this shot. And I'm standing on that. They looked so much more fluid on offense. They looked so much more better. And then we're not talking about how close this game was throughout the game. Even if it was a blowout, at one point, this game was an 8-point game, and we're talking about the Lions potentially getting their first W. The Lions got so much better. I just need to see more before I even speak on them. I need to see more. I need to see some of the pieces come together. I just need to see a W. I love you guys. You guys know that. I think you guys did wonderful with these pickups. You guys got some GM5 players now. That's the word I'm going to use. No shade to no one, but we know what a GM5 player looks like and then what an Oxley player looks like. And that's just two different caliber player. And it's not no shade to anybody. It's just the truth. But kind of to talk more about,
Listen,
I'm an Oxley player.
the
This is what an
moment,
Oxley player looks
the
like.
moment you added the Oxy portion, you immediately turned it into shade. You should have just left that part out. You should have just left that part out.
regardless, I think Sean needs to start, and if they're gonna start two big men, it has to be Sean and Bird. It can't be Sean with Nick because Nick's not looking to pass the ball and create a certain momentum that this team can run with. You have flyers, man. Use that to your ability. You have athletic people on your team. Use that. Run. Let these guys do their thing. We saw Dom have his first fast break dunk of the season. Like, we have to let these players run. And I'm sorry, TP, I love you to death, but that half court offense you want to run is not it.
That's his
Not
first.
it with these players.
That's his first fast break dunk in I think like 7 years.
And he showed out. He was
I didn't even know if he could after the injury.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah. Shout out to Dom. I think definitely was the player of this game.
I don't think
when it came to it.
I don't think the starting lineups really matter for the Park Legends. You could start anybody. The real key here is they have to make some sort of adjustment where you're not having Nick, Sean, Dom on the floor at the same time. You don't need to run that. You should run that pair that you had last season where you have Sean, you have Shane, and you have Dom running in transition. They're running and gunning. They're speeding up possessions. And then when you really want to slow things down when that's not working, you have another rotation where you can have Nick and you can have Christian out there.
You can grind it.
Nick,
you can grind it out.
You can grind it real slow, and then when that possession's not working, when you brought in a few defenders, you can kick it out to Christian, who's arguably one of the best three-point shooters in the league right now.
Yep.
They don't need to change their personnel. They need to change the lineups that they're running, and I think they'll be much better.
Yeah,
especially Shane. Shane fits anywhere.
I think Christian needs to start. I think that's my little take of this. I think Christian
needs to be a starter. Starting matters. I don't think it matters.
I don't think he should start, actually. I think him coming off the bench and providing that offensive punch is more valuable to the Park Legends than him starting. I do agree that they need to figure out their rotations and their lineups a little better because I don't know how much I care for the assembly of big men that they put together. Now, Jay Bird, I'm not too familiar with. I don't know much about him. That's somebody that I'm going to have to learn about as the season goes on. But, I mean, he's one of Bubba's players that Bubba was interested in having on his team once upon a time. So that means he must be a good player, right? So there must be some sort of history that he has where he's been successful and he's been a great player. So that's, I imagine that's why he's on the Park Legends bench or roster. Obviously, we know Nick is a great player. I just don't know if that assembly of three big men is going to coexist the way that it needs to. I think you want to go for Sean as your primary big man. And based on the fact that people talk well about him, I'd say Jay Bird should be your other big man. And I've said it before. I think you put Nick in a situation where he can be himself more comfortably. And I don't believe that's Park Legends. I just don't believe that. Now, I don't know what Nick wants to do with his life. I don't know if he's happy or if he's not. I'm just giving you my take from my own visual prowess of basketball. That's just me. I don't believe Nick Wallery should be a Park Legend to finish off this season. I think he could be used much, much better in a different situation. What that situation is, I don't know. I didn't come prepared with that part of it.
Dream Chasers would be perfect for him.
Dream Chasers would be.
They need a big man.
They need a big man. They need a scoring option. They need somebody who's going to be big down low for Kel to be able to play forward. I think, that could be a decent fit. And Dream Chasers are shopping Milt. They are shopping Milt. That has been announced. I don't know how that came about. I didn't ask. I should have. I don't know if Milt asked. I don't know if Dream Chasers just wasn't happy with the fit. But they are shopping Milt. They are shopping, the other player as well. Say that again?
Nev, too.
Nev, they are shopping Nev as well. I just say Milt is the piece there that you should be interested in. But, hey, I'm not here to do GM work for anybody. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. Three big men that are supposedly all supposed to be great. It's tough to do that at a men's league level. You know what I mean? That's tough. That's tough to keep everybody happy in that
One of them's going to have
situation.
to come off the bench. And if they're as great as they are, and I do think that they are, none of them should really be coming off the bench. None of them should be limited minutes. They're all very strong centers. I think I think the issue is that Park Legends has a lot of talent. I think that's really what the issue is. There's just a lot of talent, and that talent doesn't naturally mesh well yet. It's also the fourth game of the season. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe game 11, they're the number one seed at that point. But I think to get to that point, you'll have to make some sort of adjustment, and I think that's your rotations. I think that's the easiest way to do that. If you're not going to make a trade, if you're not going to change anything else, those rotations have to be different.
I
For the
100%
Lions,
agree.
yeah, for the Lions, I'm liking what the Lions are doing. I think the Lions need like a consistent guard. I think they need a big because Aaron hasn't really been here. And you guys gotta shoot, bro. You guys are fucking like scared to shoot on the 3-point line. Jarrell, I can remember at least 3 instances on the corner he gets the ball wide open and he dribbles into the paint. Giant, who is a great shooter from the mid range from the 3-point line, hesitates to shoot at times. You guys can't do that. You guys are their only shooters. And Josias. There's nobody else on that team that can shoot, and you guys aren't shooting. What's gonna happen?
I'd say the
That's not
new
gonna
guy.
score.
I'd say the new guy Stefan showed some shooting ability there. So I'd be interested to see how the rest of the season goes. But yeah, I agree. I think now with what they have to do it by committee. They have to get everybody involved. But I am excited to see what Lions can do.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting season for them. But do I believe they should be done? I don't believe so. I think they realize they did not come prepared with GM5 talent, and now they are desperately trying to get GM5 talent. And that's going to come across as a terrible way of describing that to some players, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't believe that they were prepared, and now it's time to figure out can that GM work? Because now this season depends on your GM, your manager, who does the decision making when it comes to your roster. That's who's going to save your season because you still need changes. I do believe that, but you can go a couple weeks with this and see how well you can play with this. But don't let that deadline hit you hard, because if that deadline hits and these were the last moves you had in you, it's not enough. Pringle's leaving, Josias is leaving. They gotta find a new 6-set too. I think both of them are 6-set players.
Oh yeah.
They gotta find a new 6-set.
Hey, I got some names for you guys. Over at the Ox League, where you guys play, where you guys recruit a lot of these players, there's some dogs. There's Sean Kapoor. There's Tyler Rodriguez. There's Daniel Lewis. Like, they're all great players.
Here's the
There's
thing,
some
though.
people in the. What?
Here's the thing, though. The Lions have the ability to create a phenomenal roster because they can use the 2 6-sets. I'm not sure if Josias was a 6-set player for them, but I know Pringle was for sure. Look, I'm assuming both of them were. So, assuming both of them were, they can pick into the GM5, free agent pool, and find replacement 6-set while still incorporating those players that you're mentioning from the Ox League by just putting them in the combine, telling them to sign up so they can pick them up as free agents. Now you can improve not only the 2 players that you're losing because they're going overseas, but you're also able to add even more talent on top of that with your, let's say, your Tylers or your Sean Kapoors or et cetera, et cetera. So they have the tools. If they get in their GM bag, they can put together one hell of a fucking roster. But it's time
And
to
they do
cut
have the
ties.
2 6-sets.
It's time.
Those are 2 6-sets.
Yeah, there's time to cut ties. As simple as that. It's time to cut ties, and do that however you please. But it's time to do it because at the end of the day, it's about making your program stand out. It's about making your team show out, and however you have to do that, you have to do it. So that's my final take on that.
Is Aaron coming back?
Who?
I haven't seen Aaron. I haven't seen Aaron Mims. Maybe that's someone, because I know that he was kind of dealing with an injury not that long ago. Maybe that's one of the first moves you make.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about that, but we'll see. I think the Lions still have a lot more to go. We'll see how that works out for them. And then
I like what I see so far.
the last game of the day, as you could anticipate, was our 4th and final mercy rule of the day. Yes, it was a mercy type of day. Every single game ended in a mercy rule, unfortunately. Not a single game close. and that
Call
was
me uncle.
Wait, no, I don't think this one was a mercy, was it?
it was
Yeah, it was.
at the end. They got it.
Wasn't it a 19-point?
Yeah, the referees cut it short, but they let him score.
Okay, okay.
They
I
let him
remember now.
they
I
let him
remember
score, but then blew the whistle as soon as they scored. Um,
Yeah.
but that was it. NWO New West Orlando scored 91 points, and City Ballers had 72. I was a 19-point deficit for the City Ballers. City Ballers with some new faces to try and turn around their season. And that led into some good things, but they had a lot of negatives in that game as well. We're going to talk through them. What do you guys think about that game?
Man, I'm gonna start off with NWO because I want to start talking about some of the positives. Bol Pol, like right now, I don't think you could deny he's Defensive Player of the Year. There's no denying at minimum he's the second best defender in the league. He is locking everybody up. He's a terrorist defensively, and I think he heard what we were saying on the podcast where we're only talking about defensively. Bro had like 3 nutmegs. He was attacking offensively like I've never seen him before. He was so strong on both sides of the ball. Tommy started off really slow, and if you go back and watch it, because Trap was playing such great defense on him, but Tommy still ended the game fantastically. By the time he got off of Trap, actually, immediately once he got off of Trap in that first quarter, he hits a 3. He gets a layup. He finds someone for another open 3. They're very strong. Their guard play is some of the strongest guard play I've ever seen. And I like a lot of the additions for City Ballers. I like that Kevin Rulock. I like Nick Choi. I like they're bringing in Will. I think that's fantastic for them, especially because I don't think is Kenny coming back.
I'm not sure if he is. I think I'll give I'll give my Nas bomb today now because that question segues perfectly into my Nas bomb. We do have the City Ballers trying to determine what route to go. So they can only keep one of their 2 new players, either Will or Mike Millsap. They're trying to figure out which one they keep or if it's time to cut ties in order to keep both. The reason being because I believe Will is here for Kenny. No, Will is here for Foots, if I'm not mistaken. One of them is here for Foots.
'cause he's a
That's all I
Mexican.
know. One of them is here for Foots. Foots was just missing a game. He's not out of the team. And I don't believe he should be. I think he's a good piece for them. One of them is here for Foots. The other was replacing, I think, Kenny, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the whole story about how
Yeah, I
it works.
remember the replacement guy for him. Yeah, he's from the Ace League. That guy.
All I know is they cannot keep both because Foots is returning and they intend to keep him, which I agree with. I think that's a good decision to make. But because of the fact that they would like to keep Foots for the rest of the season, that means one of those 2 new guys is unable to join the team, and they're trying to figure that out. Now, my take on that, and this is where the Nas bomb comes in, I gave some GM advice, and you're not going to like it if you watch the podcast. I hope you do. If you don't, I'm disappointed in you. I think it's time to cut ties with Marquinhos, and I apologize. I think it's time to cut ties with Marquinhos. I do not know if his play style is what City Ballers currently needs to get out of this hump. They started the season 0-3. He is a bit of a chucker. He is a bit of he's not a system shooter. He's not coming off screens. He's not spotting up for shots.
The dribble.
He's trying to take shots off the dribble. He's trying to take shots contested. Maybe not trying, but when he is shooting, he is contested often. You know what I mean? So I just don't believe Marquinhos is what you're looking for. And the last reason why I say that is because at the end of the day, people saw you walk out on your team. And that right there is a sign. Excuse me.
Bless you.
That right there is a sign. That's my take. That's my GM work. And what do you guys think? Should they try to keep both?
I agree.
Or just keep one?
I think right now you should realistically look to keep both of them. I don't know if Kenny's coming back. It's been four weeks now at this point. He hasn't played a game other than the first game. Marquinhos has not shown up
At all.
the way that we saw last season. You guys you guys have built a great squad, but I don't think you're there yet. I think it's time to make a move. Additionally, I think there has to be like some sort of leadership within that team where like one of you is controlling what's going on. And I think it's Phil, because Phil kind of created the team, but Phil kind of loses it like throughout every game. And I think something has to change. You either have to give the keys to Kevin, you have to give the keys to somebody on that team, Trap. I don't know who it is, or Phil has to kind of lock in and start controlling the things he can control and not worry about the things that's not happening, not worry about the calls that he's missing, not worrying about the shots that he's not hitting. Like, something has to change with that team other than them just adding players. There has to be some sort of mentality shift with that. You have to be a little bit more locked into the game and not be worried about like these side happenings that you have no control over, because it's killing you guys. You guys will go on these runs, you'll lose a call, someone gets upset, and now everyone's upset. Everyone's losing the ball. No one's paying attention anymore, and it keeps happening. And it's really disappointing. Like, it's really disappointing.
One thing I will have to get on his side of the situation is the referees and the time that they're wasting. I am on board with that one. I think, and again, I hope the referees also watch this podcast to catch any feedback. And I believe the referees have to attempt to do better with that situation. I don't believe it's fair that teams have to lose 30 seconds or more because of a call or something you have to figure out. I believe if the referee has to figure anything out or has to make any call that is forcing time to just keep going, I think the clock has to stop. I do believe that, and that's not how running clock works. I fully understand that. I come from the basketball world. I do AAU. I understand running clock is just a running clock. Simple as that. It just keeps going. But like, give the players something. It's not. I don't think it's fair. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think it is either.
I also am with you on that. Like, to keep my take on City Ballers, I think Nas is right. If someone's not, the most valuable thing a player can have is availability. Whether they're on the end of the bench or not, because you never know when it's your time to shine. But when you're not there consistently, and I think this was an issue for him last year too. He wasn't there consistently either. You do got to make some tough decisions. No one's telling you guys to make this decision. We're just from the outside looking in, and if we're playing GM mode with the GM5, right? And we're seeing pieces that aren't working and pieces that are. Marquinhos isn't hitting, and on top of that, he's a chucker, like you guys said. This team doesn't need another chucker. They have enough people who can chuck the ball. Just as fine as him. But at the end of the day, they need to fill that in with someone like the guy who subbed in, Milton, who can play both ways. He's definitely a defender. He's a legit small forward in there. He can play a wing to a forward position. It kind of helps Phil out on the defensive end, so Phil's not always guarding the best player as well. I think he will be a good pickoff. But one person I do want to kind of get on, and I don't know you like that, and we haven't had a lot of interactions, but I know with the other guys I have is Kevin. Kevin's a super, super talented guy, but I don't think he's giving these guys at least 50%. A lot has to do with the games that they play being very they have emotional players, so players will start ranting at the refs. A lot of the 30 seconds they're dealing with is because they're arguing with the refs while the refs are trying to figure out the call. That's not helping the situation as well, because you got to look at it at both sides. The refs are trying to call a clean game, but you got a running clock. You're not going to get every foul. That's the number one rule about men's basketball leagues. You're not. These refs don't get paid for their performances. They get paid to be there. So you're going to get you'll
and there's only two anyway.
Yeah.
In the NBA they have three. And they still fuck up calls all the time.
Officiating. It's not even an official officiating because there's not a third referee on the court.
NBA has three professionals and they fuck up the calls all the time.
Exactly. Imagine having two refs that don't give a fuck about talking shit back to you when you miss a shot too. Yeah, just play ball, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I don't think Phil is the leader of this team. And I'm gonna give a lot of props to this player right here. I think at the end of the day, the person they kind of look at and they view as a leader on the team, I know I'm gonna sound crazy, it's Kev. Because when Kevin talks, everybody shuts up. Like he's able to talk his piece without anybody interrupting, and being an alpha comes from that. And that's why a lot of this I think points to Kev. I think Kev has to control the ship emotionally. I think he has to hold Phil to an accountable position. And I think being a therapist and a player at the same time is hard. But I've been a player who needed another player on the court to be able to, like, Orlando, calm down, come on. Because I'm just as emotional on the court as Phil, or even worse, when I don't get my way.
Yeah, I hear the Oxley talking shit. This one would be like, I don't talk any shit at all. I've never heard you call any sort of defensive adjustments or anything. You only talking shit.
Yeah.
You only talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, all that happens in the timeouts. When you're on the court, I'm talking shit. But regardless, that's the behind the scenes with Coach Pluto. But regardless, at the fact, yeah, this is Kevin and Phil. Phil by emotion, Kev by action, and we need Phil's emotions to be held at an accountable rate, and we need Kev the ball out. Kev, I need to see something more, bro. You look like a stud, like Nas says. You got the shoes, you got the gear, you got the physique, you got the aura, bro. Just bring it all together. I want to see you publicly destroy one of these teams and make your mark. And also, Nick Choi, brother, all you got to do is be there on time. That's all. I think you're a great player, but you guys got to be there on time. You can't be
Fucking
warming up in
hilarious
the
too.
second quarter. You cannot be warming
Funniest people
up
I've
in the
ever heard
second
in my
quarter.
life.
Funniest dude.
But
Hella
the
funny.
issue, the thing is, I think Phil can be their leader. I think Phil is arguably, maybe not the first, or he's up there. Their second best player. He's great offensively and defensively, but he loses it every game because something happens and he gets upset about the calls. And
But
it's
it's
not only the time of the refs going over it; it's also the calls. I pay attention to that. You can't complain about that. You got to lock back in. You're too great at basketball to be getting lost every game like that.
Yeah, those those 10 seconds at the free throw line, and you're talking about the refs about that fall, and now the ref explaining to you why he called that foul. That's 20 seconds right there. The clock is running. Every single second matters. Yeah, the refs got to get better, but you guys also got to leave those motherfuckers alone and accept whatever it is, because that's a part of being a basketball player is accepting what's in front of you. Yeah, we're down by 20, but what are we gonna do? Yeah, we're down by 5 with 5 seconds later. What are we going to do? We've seen great leaders lead, whether it be in high school, I had a great leader, whether it be in college. We've seen what great leaders can do. Chauncey Billups. And I know I'm just naming NBA players and big guys that are LeBron James, the captains, literally their teams, but that's why they're their captains, because they lead these guys no matter what the situation is. And I think City Ballers getting too many great games not to come out and be one of those great teams. And it's the same conversation we've had since we've been there. They teeter-totter with greatness so much, and they're always on the backlash end of that. They're on the back end of greatness. They're the team that loses to it. So
One last thing I'll say.
Yeah, go ahead.
One last thing before you go, Nas. I hope that you guys can also review the tape of that game. The game was completely lost when you took Trap off of Tommy. I really do believe that. I think allowing Tommy to be that pest that he is offensively, it changed it to the worst possible way. Trap should have never been on AJ. AJ's impacting that game, but he's not impacting that game the way that Tommy was.
Yeah,
that's what
Tommy's
I think. AJ's a
literally
defensive monster.
Yeah, Tommy's literally like going to whatever the lead is. Tommy's really good at multiplying that by 2, because he's a veteran player. A lot of people don't know Tommy played college basketball in Hawaii. Tommy is a D1 player at one point. Tommy is, I would say in my eyes, he doesn't look like a pro player, but he shoots like one. And he passes like one. And he plays off-ball defense like a pro player. He's probably the best off-ball, next to Bulb, he's probably the best off-ball defender in that league. When it comes to steals, he had one steal against the point guard for, I think it was Will. Will ran into him, and when Will bumped into him, he lost the ball, all because Tommy was just there, just on the side help. Like, there's a couple things that we got to look at this team, and when you got a guard who can like Bulb, who can like guard the best player, the best perimeter player, and you got someone like Tommy who's literally like this the whole time. Like, what are you doing? What you got going on? Let me get that. Like, every time, it never misses. Like, every time I see Tommy steal now, I'm gonna yell out, "Swiper, no swiping! Swiper, no swipe!" I swear, because you see it coming though. You see it coming before it even happens. At that as well. It's insane.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think ultimately City Ballers, they have a situation that is good enough to be successful in this league. I think they just have to find the chemistry that works. I think the leadership concept is facts. They need to improve on how are they going to work together as a team to pull through tough moments. Who's going to be the leader to make that happen? I think, there's roster changes that they have to really consider here. And, I give my 2 cents. You guys take it however you want. And there's some coaching decisions that need to change as well. And, who's in the game, who you're giving trust to. Some players, maybe they only see the first 3 quarters of the game, and that fourth quarter, it's just not for you. You know what I mean? Some players, maybe they just don't come out in the fourth quarter at all. You got to close this game for us. There's coaching decisions that need to change, personnel that needs to change, but they had a tough schedule. They had a tough schedule first few weeks. We'll see how they bounce back. I like this roster of City Ballers, and I believe this roster of City Ballers, if they do the right things, they have the talent, they have the capability to compete with some of the best teams. It's all mental from here on out. For them, it's all
Yeah,
mental. Lock in, and you can win a lot of games this season.
what's crazy about this league, and I think no one's noticed it, but it's something I brought up to Tyler and Nas. The 8 seeds in a 3-way tie right now. Dream Chasers, City Ballers, and the Lions are all defeated teams only. That 8 seed's going to be a run. It's going to be like I was thinking it's going to be the first and the second seed that's going to kick out the 8 seed, but no, the 8 seed itself is like an NBA play-in game at this point. Like it's dope to see. Like, I mean, it does sucks that you guys are losing, but the race is going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining when these 3 teams play each other eventually. It's going to be fun to see these players go against each other because you guys just have to beat each other to get in at this point. Like, there is no other way around it.
We see a game this week where one of the teams will be winless, or one of the teams will stay winless, and one of the team will have the first win. City Ballers
And that will be the 8 seed.
Perceptions. Yeah, they play
Yeah.
each other this week.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm
So
excited
much
for that.
shit. I just want to say all this shit about the Lions, but they're still in the playoff hunt. I just want to let y'all know
The
that.
Lions are not the team that they were 2 weeks ago.
At all.
They're just
That's
not.
another thing
And
as
if,
well.
Yeah,
if
but
people are going to
being-
go and play them, they're going to see the same thing part Legends on.
Being in the playoff race isn't exactly a feat, considering there's eight spots to take and only 9 teams. So I'm just saying.
Who would ever thought the 8th spot would have been so valuable?
But I mean, I guess we had to take Melo's advice and cool it down on the NWO glaze. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up there and talk about next week's games, or actually this week's games, this Saturday coming up. First game up for Week 5 of the GM5, we got Count Up versus Prey. I'll let you guys go first. Actually, I don't know. You guys go first.
I don't know.
I'm gonna be really crazy with this. Count Up can't shoot, but I don't think they have Lito as a point guard for a little bit. So I'm going with Team Prey this week.
You said Count Up
is
can't
Jeff Jean
shoot?
going to be there?
Or Prey, just Prey.
Oh, I'm about to
Yeah,
say.
Lito's done. Lito's done.
No, is Jeff Jean coming back?
They haven't said anything. They usually don't say anything until like Thursday or Friday.
That'll kind of change my opinion, but I'm gonna go Team Prey. But I'm gonna let you know, Count Up. You saw what happened when Team Prey has to go against a zone. You saw it, and I think, do you have the personnel to run that?
Yeah. And just run with one big man moving forward, please.
Yeah.
For the sake of your offense.
Stagger them.
Yeah, I think this is tough. I think this is 2 teams that have a lot to prove, because it's just inconsistent. I think the rosters look great, but the performances aren't there yet. So if I'm going paperwork, I'm gonna go Prey. I think Prey wins this game.
Yeah, I got.
We got to start keeping
Kinda-
tallies, maybe starting this week, of our predictions and how we do after the week is done, and posting it.
I'll go
on
back, and we do a
Instagram.
forfeit at the end of the season.
I like it. I think we need to, from this moment on, or if you guys want to backtrack our picks, like, we should keep score of the picks, and whoever has the most has to make the person who has the less wins do some shit. That's available for YouTube.
I'm down for that. And then we got game 2, City Ballers versus Lions Perception. 2 teams that have not been able to get themselves in the win column just yet.
Damn it, the league. Damn it, the league.
I'd say I got City Ballers taking this one just because although the Lions look better, I think they're going to have to go through some rough patches before that squad can click properly.
I like City Ballers.
Man.
I really like City Ballers.
Man. Hey, Phil, this has nothing to do with you, all right? But I'm taking the Lions this week.
I just want you to
Take
know
Lions.
That is the most disrespectful thing Phil will hear this week. And when he sees you, he might slap you.
No,
I
I'm
think
pretty sure
even
Ben will
if
call a foul.
tomorrow,
He'll get more mad.
even if
He's
tomorrow
gonna slap me
somebody,
because you're gonna be late.
even if, even if somebody disrespects his
Right,
mother
Wawa.
tomorrow, that will probably still be the most disrespectful thing he'll see or happen to him all week long. So good luck to you on
They know I
Saturday.
mess with them. They know I mess with them. They know I mess
They're
with
gonna
them.
put me in a trash can because you're not there yet. God damn it.
Nah, I'll be there. I'll be there early this week. I'll be there at 9:40.
We got
I recorded
two.
that just now.
And so did I actually. So we got two City Ballers, one Lions Perception, and then Game 3 we got Vipers versus Dream Chasers. Even though I'd love to see a Dream Chasers win here, I had to say it's gonna be Vipers.
I love
Yeah.
the Vipers, bro. That's my team.
Yeah, they got. I think the Vipers are gonna go on a momentous run. I think they can possibly win the next 3 games. I'm going with the Vipes.
All right, that's
I'm going to go with
unanimous.
them.
Dream Chasers, prove us wrong. I'd be happy to be wrong in this situation. And in the last game of the day, Park Legends is going to have a bye week, so it's going to be on the bench versus New West Orlando.
Oh,
That is the actual game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. We'll find out Saturday at 8:30 a.m. if the OTB is going to have a full roster because they just refuse
never
to
know.
tell
Gonna
us.
bring in.
Refuse to tell us who's actually going to be there or not. But let's assume everybody's fully rostered. Let's just assume that for now. I'm going to say OTB wins. This is going to be the hot take of the day, though. OTB is going to make this their fourth straight mercy rule and cement themselves
gonna
as
say
the
that.
most dominant
Never
team
mind.
in the GM5. I'm calling it right
Just
here, right
because you
now.
guys are twinning, and just because you guys are twinning, you already know I'm going with NWO.
No,
Let's
I'm
go,
not.
man.
I'm not gonna say it's a.
Orlando.
I'm not gonna say it's a mercy rule anymore. That's corny. That was gonna be my pick, but you know he spoke first.
He's corny now, huh?
No, I'd be siding with it. That's lame.
Yeah, that's true.
I got
Yeah,
OTB
come to the
winning.
dark
Though. I
side.
got
Come to the
OTB
dark
winning.
side.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. I got OTB winning by 9. Stamp it.
I got NWO by 4.
I got OTB by 25.
And this all will change if Keith walks in that building. I just want to say that.
No, you
My
can't go back
pick
now, bro. You
will
cannot
change
go back.
If Keith
Can't go
walks
back.
in that motherfucking room,
Who?
I'm
You
gonna
gotta
look at
stick
you
with
guys
that,
and be
bro.
like, "Hey,
Who?
I wasn't betting on him."
If Keith walks through the building,
Oh,
Yeah.
no!
Go back out.
Fully rostered. I got OTB. I was joking about the mercy rule, though. I think this is going to be an extremely tight game. I think these teams are just far too talented, and I think it's going to come down to 2 or 3 possessions at best. We might just have an overtime game. That's how good these
I hope
teams
we
are.
do.
I bet you it does. I bet you it does go to overtime.
Yeah, I think it's gonna
I
go
like
to
that
overtime.
best.
I think this is gonna be I've been waiting for this matchup. That's why I keep ignoring Rod every time he asks us about miking him up. And I've been specifically choosing this week as the first week we're gonna try and mic somebody up because I want to
Melo
see
and
Rod
Rod?
against. I want to see Rod against his championship team from last season. And this is going to be one hell of a what do you want to call it? A dogfight, a battle of the Titans, whatever you want to call it. I think this is going to be phenomenal. I really hope, I'm crossing my fingers, I really hope everybody shows up, man. The money tournament's over, man. Melo's tax getaway is over as well. He's already learned how to scam people out of their money. It's time to focus on basketball now. Come to work, everybody. You know, everybody show up. Everybody come at their best, man. I want to see and everybody play good. That's really what I want. I don't want to see no excuses. I don't
think they can't control it, Oz.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want, oh, if AJ was hitting his shots, it would have been a different game. Oh, if Tommy was in foul trouble. No, man.
Gotta hit
Show
your
up
shots.
and play. That's what I want to see. This is the time to prove yourselves. Bubba said it himself. He's waiting for that time where he can finally say he's assembled a team better than Squad X. Squad X is famously the best team GM5 has ever had, and TP will even agree with you himself. So, Bubba, this is your chance right here, right now, to beat 2 of your former Squad X teammates in AJ and Rock. So, let's get it, man. I think you got to do it.
It's gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be awesome. Bring your popcorn. I think real quick. I mean, to those who watch, I'm pretty sure next week they do need. I mean, I'm a GM5 media personnel, right? I think they do need someone to work the concession because the guy who worked it last week will not be there this week, and we need popcorn.
I'm
We
hungry,
have the
bro.
lights, we
Yeah.
have the lights, we have the camera, they have the action, but we need popcorn and we need soda.
He
So
said he's
yeah,
getting a
definitely hit
replacement.
up TP. Oh, okay, perfect.
I
Just
don't.
showing love.
I think that's something that he owns. I don't think GM5 is the ones that have to look for a replacement. I think he has to do that.
Cool,
Who?
Bubba.
You said concessions?
No,
Yeah,
TP
concessions.
TP's been looking for people to run it.
No, I
Yeah.
Talks
know.
all the time.
Yeah, no. I'm saying he's the one that's supposed to be coming. So it's his thing. He's the one that's supposed to find something.
Oh no, that was like some more
But he
insider
hasn't
thing.
been.
The guy who was running the concession, he's not gonna like the guy who was there this week. He's not gonna be there this week. He's gonna be out of town. So they need someone to fill in for him for next week.
No.
Like just for
Yeah. We're on the same page on that part. I'm saying
okay.
his concession thing, whatever you want to call it, whatever his food company, whatever he owns, is coming back. He said he's gonna get a replacement to come back. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
perfect. They did amazing last
I
week.
got you.
Okay,
Because you
my
were
bad.
saying if you want to help replace, that's what I'm saying. Like he has to find a replacement for his own company. We can't just put somebody to run
I
his
didn't know that.
company
I didn't
for
know
him.
that.
That's what I was
We
trying to
could
say.
try.
That's what he said though. I don't know if I misunderstood him. I don't know. That's what I heard him say, that he's gonna have somebody come in his place. Um,
Yeah.
so fingers crossed. I didn't get a chance. I didn't know they were there, so I didn't get a chance to support. So fingers crossed he is able to figure that out because I would love to have some good old fashioned snacks while I'm doing my shit talking.
I
But
love eating.
I think that's all we got, unless we want to add anything else. I did want to try and squeeze in a topic, but I don't want the podcast to be too long. I know all you guys, I've heard your feedback. You don't want the podcast to last hour and a half, 2 hours. So, we'll keep trying to see if one of these days we can fit in some extra topics. Or maybe we talk about maybe doing a little extra episode for 30 minutes and just put some extra content out there for you guys to listen to, because there's a couple topics that I'd love to discuss and debate about, argue about, whatever the case might be. But if you guys got nothing else in regards to GM5 or local hoops, I
Real
think that's
quick.
where we can wrap it up.
You guys give us so much information every Saturday to digest and to talk about. Don't get mad at how much we talk about it. Shit, we're talking about you guys. You guys should want this content. You guys should want this limelight that someone's talking about you and giving you props in your 30s about basketball. No shade at all. I'm just showing love. Like
That was shade.
shade is fun.
This man
I don't care.
will say something shady and then no shade. You can't do that. That's how that works.
Hey, what did Don say? I'm saying everything that comes to my mind this year. So yeah, hell no. We're gonna do this we're gonna give out you guys as much content. So number one, you guys can repost about yourself. Like repost about your guys' self. Because this content gets as far as you guys let it get. You know what I'm saying? Give this to your family members, give this to your brothers and sisters. Like Nas says, put it in your cousin chat with 25 different cousins in it that you don't really talk to or support you. But just throw it in there anyways, like he said. So yeah, spread the word, bro. Because this is for you guys. We do this for you. Even though we get paid, we still do this for you guys. And we enjoy it. So yeah.
Like and subscribe, comment, all that.
And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the Hoop Talk crew is going to be at Barnett Park September 28th. That's this Sunday. We're going to be catching the games, seeing what you guys got to offer in these local city leagues. So if you're playing with a team, if you're a free agent and you try to get on a team so you can be a part of the conversation, man, make sure you show up, you show out, because we're going to be there. We're going to dissect those games, and we're going to make sure it's a part of our podcast because we want to make sure that the world knows Central Florida's got leagues all over, talent all over, and we're trying to highlight all of you guys. We're trying to showcase all of you guys. So if you're going to be at Barnett Park starting this Sunday, make sure you show out, because if you don't, we're going to talk about it. That's for damn sure. All right? So hit that subscribe button,
Especially now
like,
this season.
subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff, man. We're out of here. Hoop Talk out. Deuces.